Stranger Things is a deep show, including having numerous callbacks to 80s pop culture. But in season 3, there are a lot of things you might have missed if you weren't paying attention. Allow us to show you some of them.
Just a reminder about our new giveaway. We're giving away the new iPad Pro or the new iMac Pro. The choice is yours. All you have to do is watch the full video, leave a like, comment the keyword hidden in the video, and make sure you're subscribed. It's that simple.
10. Back to the Future. Back to the Future is hailed as one of the best trilogies of movies ever, thanks to great storylines, great characters, and fun gimmicks that are still used to this day. But what's important here is when it was released. The summer of 1985, which was the setting for Stranger Things Season 3. What's more, they actually show the movie in theaters when our lovable band of heroes break Steve and Robin out of their facility. Add to the showrunners made sure to incorporate various callbacks to the movie via items shown in the movie, like a cat clock, as well as references to scenes like Marty riding a hoverboard and a fast car going through a parking lot. Some fans are speculating that the references to Back to the Future could continue in the form of time travel via Season 4. I wonder if they'll have to go 88 miles per hour to make it happen?
Do you like that? How do I know what I like? You just try things on.
9. The Mall of America. It really shouldn't be too much of a surprise that the Starcourt Mall was a major focal point for not just Season 3 of Stranger Things, but in the town of Hawkins as a whole. After all, even to this day, malls are an important meeting place and, of course, a shopping zone. But what might surprise you is that if you look at the names of the stores, you'll find that they aren't just using made-up names. Every single name on the stores that are shown in blink and you miss it moments are real stores, like Burger King, Claire's, Radio Shack, and more. They even note that Taco Bell is coming soon, and it never left afterwards, as we all know. And if you noticed, hot dog on a stick, you might think that one was fake, but it wasn't. In fact, it was real back in the 80s, and it's still around today. What this really shows is that the team behind Stranger Things wanted to be as accurate as possible with the little details while stretching things with the overarching story.
Hey! No running on my watch! I gotta warn you again, and you're banned for life. You wanna be banned for life?
8. The pool scene. Another place that has a lot of time in Season 3 was that of the pool, where everyone would go and cool off when the hot summer sun was boiling over. While this may not seem like a callback, you would get it if you were around in the 80s and even the 90s when things were a bit different. You see, there were many movies that would use a pool area for some interesting moments. Films like Fast Times at Ridgemont High and The Sandlot were proof of this, and Stranger Things definitely harkened back to them with references like how people reacted to Hargrove the lifeguard and even the camera angles used in the shots. It's subtle, but it's there.
I can talk to my girlfriend whenever and wherever I choose.
Girlfriend?
7. Phoebe Cats. During a scene from Season 3, Dustin decides to say that his girlfriend is, quote, hotter than Phoebe Cats. Who is Phoebe Cats? She was one of the lady bombshells in the 80s who made a lot of waves, both literally and metaphorically, during Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Her scene as she rises out of the pool is legendary for reasons that we shouldn't really talk about here. Sorry. Not so ironically, later on, Steve is shown setting up a cardboard cutout of Kate's in her Fast Times bathing suit. But wait, there's more. Kate's was also in the movie Gremlins, which was also referenced in the season via Dustin and one of his wacky inventions.
We just wanted to make sure everything was okay.
Okay. Why wouldn't it be okay?
Where is she?
6. Chekhovs Gun. There are a lot of storytelling tropes that are used in series like Stranger Things to help make the story better, deeper, etc. One of them is called Chekhovs Gun. The concept of it is simple. It is a dramatic principle that states that every element in a story must be necessary, and irrelevant elements should be removed. Elements should not appear to make false promises by never coming into play. So for example, in a Western, if you show a bar with a gun hanging on the wall that the bartender uses in case of a fight, you can bet that a fight will break out so that the gun can get used. Else, why is it there? How does that fit in with Stranger Things Season 3? Simple, Starcourt Mall. The setting is a major set piece for the season. Steve and Robin work there, we see the movie theater a lot, Eleven gets to shop around and be normal in it, etc. And what is the climactic battle at the end of Season 3? the Battle of Starcourt Mall, in which it's destroyed despite us spending so much time there. In short, the gun had been fired.
Tammy Thompson. I wanted her to look at me, but she couldn't pull her eyes away from you.
5. Theater references. As noted, Starcourt Mall had plenty of references for you to enjoy, but there were some more subtle ones out there if you knew where to look, such as when Steve is recovering from his run-in with the Russian experiments and is getting a drink of water while talking with Robin. On the movie board that shows the films playing, you'll see Cocoon, which indeed was a movie of the 80s. Plus, if you looked closely enough, you'll see the feature presentation card before certain movies played that actually was the one used for much of the 80s. Man, can you believe the length they went for these details?
Sweeter, bolder, better.
4. New Coke. No, not that Coke. The drink Coke. Mind out of the gutter. You might have noticed that in Stranger Things Season 3, some of the cast were constantly seen drinking something called the New Coke. That wasn't just a play on words, it's actually a reference to an actual campaign held by Coke in the 1980s. You see, Coke was riding high for a while via Coke and the newly unveiled Diet Coke, but then Pepsi started to get a major sales boost and that got Coke worried, so they decided to go and make a brand new flavor of Coke. Now, usually this would be a case where the new flavor isn't even close to the power of the original, right? But Coca-Cola was no fool. They made sure to do taste tests and New Coke did really well in testing. But, as referenced by Stranger Things, those that liked New Coke were outnumbered by those who loved the classic one, even having one of the crew boast about it to only be met with, "You're insane!" That line of thought led to a dip in sales for Coke, and thus they returned to the original flavor.
I'm trying my best. I did the thing where you don't cut it. Wait, this is not enough.
3. Holiday settings. This one might be a little bit more obvious if you paid attention to the overarching themes of Stranger Things over the last 3 seasons. But in case you haven't, pop quiz! Around what time did the first season of Stranger Things happen? The answer is Christmas. How about season 2? The answer is Halloween. Season 3? Yep, you guessed it, 4th of July. The need to focus around various holidays is curious, but also helps the showrunners and teams write in various things to tie in those seasons, like our main heroes wearing the Ghostbusters outfits in season 2. But here's the rub. There might be a clue in that which reveals when season 4 is going to happen in terms of the timeline. Before the end of season 3, Mike tells Eleven that he'll come and visit her around Thanksgiving, which means that we might have a November-themed season coming up. It's hard to say, to be honest, but given the pattern of the first 3 seasons, it's certainly not out of the realm of possibility.
Marlboro Reds and 1 extra large Slurpee.
2. Magnum and Cheers. If somehow not apparent by this point in the list, the showrunners of Stranger Things really love the 80s and are willing to do just about anything to reference them. And if you look at Hopper and Joyce, you'll see various 80s tie-ins, whether you want to admit it or not. For example, in season 3, you'll see Hopper wearing a Hawaiian shirt, which seems a bit odd given that they're in Indiana, but in the 80s, there was a show called Magnum PI that was about a detective, like Hopper, who was working cases of sometimes strange nature and always wore a Hawaiian shirt. Furthermore, the original Magnum was none other than Tom Selleck, who had a legendary mustache, just like Hopper. Where does Joyce fit into this? Well, her go-to show in the series is Cheers, which was hugely popular in the 80s and still is one of the most watched finales ever. But more than that, Joyce and Hopper's relationship is not unlike what Cheers characters Sam and Diane had in many seasons of the show. Mainly in that they had a will they, won't they dynamic, and other characters weren't afraid to call that out either.
Could say that. Some psycho stole that dude's car.
What else?
What?
What else did you say?
1. The Terminator. Every show needs a villain, and in season 3 of the Stranger Things, we had Gregory, a merciless, emotionless terror of a man who was on a mission to get Hopper at all costs. While this usually would be enough of a reference to certain 80s villains, many have noted that his looks, silent terror he exudes, and his driven persona are not unlike a legendary 80s villain in The Terminator. Not just that, but when he and Hopper fight it out in the industrial areas, Gregory's face gets some gashes that look just like what the Terminator had in Judgment Day. Granted, that was in 1991, but come on, it's close enough. So, what do you think? What do you think about these 10 things that Stranger Things referenced that you likely didn't know about? Did you have your mind blown by all the 80s and even 90s references? Which of these were you surprised by the most? And did you see some of the Easter eggs that are worth mentioning? Let me know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you next time on the channel.
Just a reminder about our new giveaway. We're giving away the new iPad Pro or the new iMac Pro. The choice is yours. All you have to do is watch the full video, leave a like, comment the keyword hidden in the video, and make sure you're subscribed. It's that simple.